about those animals. They just want me to feel awful about not showing boob. They just want me to feel really sad that they don't know what color my nipples are. Like, bah! And they think it's gonna work on me. They think I'm that dumb. I'm 34. I've been dealing with men my whole life. I know what you guys are like sometimes. This had no impact on my well-being whatsoever. My god, humans are unhinged. Well, the thing is, like, I have, you know, I have felt lust for humans in the past. I have felt attraction to people. I've never been so obsessed with someone's body that I will actively try to make them feel like they're killing puppies. Like, they are so morally bereft that they are literally committing an act of murder by not showing me their cock. You know, like, I've never wanted to risk prison. I've never, like, tried to, like, take a picture of someone getting changed or tried to upskirt someone on the train. Like, and if I was this obsessed with bodies that I was just, like, ravenously desperate all the time and would part with any amount of money just to see anyone with their clothes off, the internet is plastered with free fucking porn! Oh my god! Like, how? Why? Like, it's not that they're obsessed with bodies, they're obsessed with invading people. They're obsessed with getting shit without someone's consent. That's what makes it sexy. Or they just look at the consensual shit and be fine. Like, it's not even an obsession with bodies, it's an obsession with assault. It's so fucking, and it's so common. Like, I get it every fucking day. It's crazy. What platforms are the most troublesome? They all have men on them cracking, like... like, there isn't like a place where it's any different. Like, I'll get this in Twitch Whispers, I'll get this on, like, I guess a good place is Twitter for this, because, like, I have to be following someone back for them to message me, and people I deliberately follow are surprisingly not sex pests. So I don't have to scroll through endless, like, unintentional weirdos. Like, the only weirdos in my DMs are the ones I actually want to be there, and none of them are horny, thankfully. Or at least not horny for me. So I guess, like, if more platforms had a setting where it's like, if I'm not following you back, you can't message me, I think the world would be a better place. And a harder place on weirdos, honestly. Wow, you discovered the one security option on Twitter, it seems. That's so fucking funny, isn't it? Because, like, on the other hand, like, Twitter is also the only place where I will scroll past someone dying horrifically, or scroll past someone's literal spread butthole. Or, like, I will look at the comments section and, like, have to scroll past, like, 8 dead kids, 7 porn bots, you know, like, I can't think of anywhere else that is a social media platform where I could happen across, like, one man, one jar or something like that. But like, it's the most unregulated platform I've ever seen in my life. It is, like, if I had kids, I would actively block that site. I would want them to be, like, a grown-up before they saw the full extent of humanity. Because I feel like that's what unfiltered social media is. It's just humanity in a nutshell. And that's a bit much, you know? I think Kick is worse. I've never really been on Kick, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like, well, I tell a lie. I've been on, like, 1 or 2 Kick streamers, like, streams for, like, 2 minutes max. And, like, it was endless like people spamming the N-word and Nazi stuff and everything in the comment section and not getting banned or blocked. And I was like, oh, I clearly don't belong here. And that was it. Do you think it's ultimately pointless to try and work out what's going on and just focus on your own self? I kind of feel like, no. And I kind of feel like it's a weak ass fucking mentality to be like, I can't do anything about this, so I will do nothing. And the reason why I say that is because the more because that is just emotionally protective, right? And it's fine to do right by yourself. I encourage you to look after yourself. I feel like you do so much more for the world when you do it as overspill rather than trying to give from an empty cup, right? But yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, whenever you avoid dealing with something because it's uncomfortable, whenever you look at a big task or a big ask, whenever you look at a big issue, it feels uncomfortable and unsettling. And also when you hear opinions that make you uncomfortable, that's usually because you could do a lot of growing by hearing it, right? So quite often with social media, you can immediately scroll away from a video that's challenging you in some way, or telling you something that's hard, or making you look at something that's distressing. And the thing is, if you scroll away, you're telling yourself, I can't handle that. And every time you reinforce that, you're telling your brain, I am helpless, I am stupid, I am weak, I can't handle it, I can't handle it. The thing is, when you look at stuff that needs fixing, when you look at issues, like it devastated me to watch the videos about what was happening in fucking SeaWorld. It makes me so angry, right? And I hated it. I hated seeing those animals die, and I hate those animals seeing them be abandoned and live in horrific circumstances and be depressed and want to kill themselves. I hated seeing them self-harm. It was depressing as fuck. You sat there on the loo or on your couch and you just wanted to chill, and you thought you were going to laugh at something, and you get confronted with something that like burns your soul. It hurts so much to look at. But I watched it, and I'm so glad I did, because I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. That probably means I need to see this, right? And because I saw that, like, I know I'm never going to go to any of these places. Whenever anyone I know talks about going and watching any kind of aquatic performances of any kind with, like, seals and shit, I show them the videos and they're like, oh, fuck, I changed my mind. Like, the more of us know, the sooner they go out of fucking business. And they should. Right? All of these kinds of performances should be gone. Nobody can be a good person and watch that shit. Nobody should be bringing their kids to watch it, because their kids can't consent to contributing to this bullshit. They don't understand. You know? Right? So I could only be part of ending that shit by facing it. By not being a helpless, weak little, pathetic little crumb, and actually trying to engage with the shit, because growth feels uncomfortable. And in order to be the kind of person who doesn't abuse orcas, I had to be uncomfortable for a couple of minutes. So that an orca didn't have to spend 60 fucking years living absolute fucking hell. So I'd say, like, it's okay to take care of yourself, and you should. But never never be too much of an absolute fucking weakling to give the best of yourself to the world too. And that takes a few moments of discomfort. That takes not scrolling away sometimes. That takes listening to both sides of a debate one time, even though it's really fun to listen to someone speak your views. It's really hard to listen to someone speak against them. But you need that. You know? You need some stress testing every now and again. And that's stressful. Like, all of your ideas that you put every foundation of your behavior, right, needs stress testing sometimes. You need to hear why other people might disagree with you. And you need to hear it in full. From them. Not from people who agree with you, ridiculing them, but directly from them. And that's the only way you grow. Growth is inherently when you face things that are unfamiliar, bitch. And the thing is that we are comforted by the familiar. We gravitate towards the familiar, whether it benefits us or not. So by its very nature, everything that creates growth is new and therefore unfamiliar. Every time you feel uncomfortable, you're being confronted by something important. So I say both. I say both. A full, complete human being needs to engage with both. You need to engage with yourself and care for yourself. And where you have the means, you need to care for others too. You have to care for the world too. Every time you have the right to do anything, it's because somebody gave a shit about the world, no matter what it took. You know? Every issue was too big for one person to fix. Every single fucking issue. Do you know, it's in my lifetime that it became illegal to rape your partner in marriage. It became illegal to rape your partner when you were married to them. It was considered indefinite consent when you married someone. And within my lifetime, it changed. Within my lifetime. Really, I didn't know that. Yeah, it became illegal to rape your wife in 1991 in the UK. So, it was perfectly legal. You could not press charges against your partner if you were married to them for rape. So with that in mind, everyone, it took people facing that issue, and God knows how many fucking people were being raped constantly, not able to report it in a world that was really hard to report, and nothing would be done. And someone had to care. Someone had to know. Someone had to care. Someone had to start the fight. Everything that ever improved started with one fucking person. If you're just one person, good, you are the start. That is the most important stage. Never go, but I'm just one person. If you're the only one, you are the start, the most important person in the battle. It has to start with one. It has to. Fresh prison break, thank you so much. 4 years flew by so quickly. I learned so much here and I met so many amazing people, so thank you for creating a wholesome place. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You can't change people, only yourself. I kind of feel like I've accidentally changed a fuck ton of people, and a bunch of people have changed me, like both directly and indirectly. Like some of the people who've changed me the most probably don't even know I exist, and some of the people who changed me did it unintentionally. Like I've learned from other people's mistakes, like the people I've lived beside throughout my life. I've watched them and the things they did right and the things they did terribly. And they helped me to learn how to not make the same mistakes and how to thrive from the lessons they learned without having to learn them myself. I've also listened to people online and on the television who've spoken about their experiences or have shared knowledge or studies. You know, scientists who don't know I exist did studies that changed my perception of self and my perception of humanity, my perception of existence. I feel like so many countless people have changed me for the better and worse throughout my whole life. I've had to unlearn things that people taught me just as much as I've had to learn things. And I feel like, you know, sometimes a lot of the work is removing the changes other people have left in you. I think that's a lot of what trauma is. Dealing with trauma is like carving out and removing like the scars and like the marks that other people have left. So I kind of feel like we are constantly changing, and you can change other people. You can change people even when you're minding your own business, just because you're minding your own business. You know, sometimes people forget that's a fucking option, you know? Absolutely. I mean, I watched a social experiment where somebody pretended they were on a date, sat out in a big open space outside, and they were pouring powder into a drink when their girlfriend, they're both actors, right? But when the girl gets up to go to the loo, he pours some powder suspiciously into her drink and then puts it on her side of the table and waits. And all of these men sat and watched and smirked and did nothing and watched her drink it. There was one woman who was sat across, and she got up, and when she saw him do it and the woman came back and sat down, before she could get the glass, she stood up, pushed the glass off the table, pretended it was an accident, and sat back down again, and was like, oh, sorry, and then just sat down and pretended like it was a complete accident, didn't know what was happening. She was the only person in the video who was a member of the public who did anything. And I feel like I watch examples like that, and they really help bolster my confidence that if I see anything bad going on in public, even if I'm afraid, I'm going to help and I'm going to intervene. Because like sitting back and watching and being like those people was completely fucking unacceptable to me. And I don't ever want to be a bystander again. And so I feel like helping people reinforce who they are and helping them watch others and helping them like see those scenarios play out and decide who they want to be in those scenarios is a really huge part of character building, because deciding in the moment can be really fucking challenging. But if you've already decided beforehand what you're going to do, you can do it even when it's hard. So I feel like, yeah, we're constantly influencing each other. The Simpsons influenced me as a fucking kid. You know, my computer games influenced me as a fucking kid. They were just artists having fun, you know? I feel like we're always being influenced. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. And 5 years before that, completely different again. I feel like we are constantly rebuilding and building and building and destroying and building. We are always being changed. I think you absolutely can change other people. You're doing it all the time. The comments section is a bunch of people just belching out their own views, but they change each other. The comment section defines how someone feels about an article more than the article itself, according to studies. If you ask someone how they feel about something that they've read or seen online, it's usually the comment section that makes the difference and defines how they feel. Like sometimes I find a video funnier after I read the comment section. I was watching a video, and this guy was just singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and the top comment was, why is his voice exactly like a saxophone? I love it. And it had like 30,000 likes, and it completely flipped how I heard his voice, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so spot on, oh my god. And I laughed out loud. And I would have never laughed at a video singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow until I read the comment section. The comment section dialed up this video and how hilarious it was to me, 1000%. So like, it changes me. It changes how I perceive things, you know? It changes how I feel about things, you know? Okay, run. Yep. I love how the mods knew what that meant.
Bring back 50p cheesecake campaign fund.
I love it. I totally agree, Doctor. Shut up. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't. Everyone always wants me. Everyone asks me, like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I never saw myself being here. Like, when I stopped making plans, my life became awesome. Every day, I just adapt to what the universe hands me. Because you can't really decide what you're going to get in life. You can try and aim for stuff, and by all means set goals if you want, if that works for you, but it's never worked for me. Everything I intended for myself, I never got. And everything that I accidentally got was so much better than anything I ever intended for myself. Holy shit. In your opinion, what is cosmic energy? I don't know, it comes across to me as a euphemism for concepts that people want to believe, but A, have no evidence for, and B, can't really articulate, and C, tend to make up as they go along. But I could be wrong. Like, I might have a really overwhelmingly negative idea of it because I only hear the term coming from people trying to justify something really weird. But like, what happens when I ask people about these sorts of things that are like not a very well defined, you make it up as you go along, means something different to everyone kind of thing, is they're usually like the missing gap in their logic that they fill with mystery, but want to give a concrete term so it looks like you figured it out. And that's the only time I've ever heard cosmic energy be used. So if it has a more defining, more concrete, more useful application than that, I'm not the best person to ask about it because I've never heard it used in that context. A great breakdown from my experience. Really? I don't know. Press 1 if you agree. It's probably a scientific term too that is perfectly legit, but I never hear it used in that way whatsoever. Like, Blaze, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I like the answer. Really? I was like, oh no, this is where I lose a bunch of people who follow me because they're like, what? But like, yeah, I'm sure it can be used in a more concrete way, but I only ever hear it being used by people who are like on their 7th fucking juice cleanse. You know, I feel like that's all I really need to say. They're recommending it to everyone even though it's giving them the shits. I've heard more smart people talk about it, just haven't heard it make sense. Like I said, like cosmic energy to me, I haven't really heard it in a very relatable or useful way in my own life. But that doesn't mean I won't, just means I haven't yet. But I tend to only really pay attention to things that can be reproduced. So like, if I ask you what this thing is, if everybody gives me the same answer, that's a thing. If everybody gives me a different answer, it's not a thing. Conscious energy that connects people in cosmic conscious. I can't explain it any other way. Well, my issue with that is like, I don't think that humans are capable of perceiving a cosmic consciousness. If the cosmos had a consciousness that we could connect to with psychically, there would be absolutely no way to prove it, no way to study it, and there'd be no way to openly discuss it or connect people with it. And the reason why is because it would be completely indistinguishable from madness, from drug use, from hallucinations, and internalized thoughts that you feel disassociated from. Because the minute you do not recognize an internal thought as your own, even if it is, you will start attributing it to another deity. And this quite often happens with psychosis. So because we as humans are inaccurate and accidentally misjudge our own thoughts and also lie to ourselves, there would be no way to differentiate the voice of the cosmos with just you and your thoughts. And this is why, and also with drugs, there'd be no way to know whether or not the drug awakened your third eye or just made you hallucinate. When the most likely answer is you hallucinated. The reason why so many people have so many different spiritual experiences and they all look completely unique to the person, there's rarely any fucking overlap, except in ways that are specifically symptoms. So if you hear a voice that sounds bigger than yourself, that might be the overlap. But then what you think the voice is attributed to will be entirely culturally, like dreams, entirely culturally, environmentally, and just influenced by the person that is perceiving it, right? So, exactly. So unfortunately, I can't really speak to the consciousness of the cosmos and whether or not we've ever connected to it, because I would be using humans as a reference, and they're wildly inaccurate and have symptoms of mental health issues, drugs, and all sorts that will make them have these experiences that came in entirely from within themselves. And we know that's a real phenomenon. We can even deliberately induce it. We know how it works so well, right? And sleep paralysis is a good example of this, right? So we know how this works. We know it's a physical phenomenon, but we also know it's indistinguishable from hallucinations of higher beings and cosmos or gods or deities or demons or ghosts or aliens. All of these experiences look very fucking similar. They have so much overlap. And where they overlap and where they have things in common is all stuff you can deliberately induce in people. It's all neurochemical stuff. If you give someone this brain chemical, they'll think that they're talking to their dad in their sleep. It's that fucking specific. So with that in mind, I don't really ever make any speculations about it because it's not reachable. I'm a human. I can't use anyone else's experience as a point of reference for that, and I can't use my own. It can't be trusted. Unfortunately. So yeah, for me, it's not something I can really touch on. It's not something I can really guess at. I'm not a species that is capable of accurately documenting, studying, or connecting with that in any recreatable way. It's Streets O'Clock. Okay, I can go do that. Who have we got on the bunny cam right now? We got Pete. I'll do him first. Let's go make their day. I'll be right back, guys.